We know this is really unpopular among the public in Japan. The IOC is not going to cancel the Games. Do you think the Japanese government might?
Well, so far, the Japanese government has been very consistent in saying the Games will go ahead and they are confident that it will be safe and secure in their words. So we've not seen any signs that the government is going to shift its position, but we have seen a more broad kind of opposition here in Japan amongst the public and even some sort of high profile figures like business leaders, such as the head of SoftBank, Masayoshi Son, who over the last few days has been on Twitter saying that this could be essentially a disastrous event. So you're seeing opposition harden here, but you're not seeing anything from the government that indicates they're going to turn against the Games. I think they're thinking we've got 2 months to go. The coronavirus numbers here are starting to come down, and they're crossing their fingers and their toes that that trend continues and the Games can go ahead and people can focus on the sport more than the concerns about health.
I mean, unlike many other nations that have gone before, Japan has been ready for these Games, infrastructure-wise, for quite some time. But COVID, no one predicted. But what has Japan put in place to make sure it can go ahead?
Well, we do have very strict border controls right now. It's interesting, the US decision to advise their nationals from traveling against traveling to Japan, because in fact, if you're American, you can't really come into Japan right now anyway, so without doing a long quarantine. So, there are border controls here. And then for the Olympics, what the government is saying is that anyone that comes in will be tested twice before they arrive. They will be tested on arrival, and they will be tested frequently during the course of the Games. That's not just athletes, that's all the officials and dignitaries and media people that are coming in as well. They've essentially said that, they will create a kind of bubble around the Olympic Village. They don't want any interaction between anybody that's coming from overseas and the Japanese public. And essentially, they want to kind of isolate this whole thing. It's going to be a big experiment about whether you can create a bubble for a sport event this size, as well as, the usual things of social distancing at the Games, mask wearing, disinfectant for your hands and things. So, they say they have a very comprehensive package of measures that will ensure the public will be safe. But we've not really seen an event of this scale to date during the pandemic. And they have said, we've had these warm-up events which have been fine. There's been no spread of the coronavirus. There's been other sporting events around the world that have been generally fine. But this is a different order of magnitude. And whether the steps that they're taking are sufficient or not, the Japanese public is very skeptical. And the view here is that, okay, you can take all these steps, but you can't guarantee us that this is not going to lead to some, large spread of the new variants of the coronavirus, which people are particularly worried about here. This hospital system is under some strain. So you've got this feeling that there's this big juggernaut that's coming towards Japan that can't be stopped. And yet the government is trying to reassure people that enough is being done to make sure everyone here will be fine.